Is it just me, or is the world becoming ruder? Sometimes it feels like being rude and cruel to others has recently become a new badge of honour, the new cool, so to speak. Are you noticing more instances of rudeness and cruelty in everyday life? Whether it's in day-to-day interactions, with people being rude to retail or hospitality workers, or even being aggressive to healthcare workers. Even certain world leaders using bullying and belittling tactics to get what they want. In 2025, almost everyone seems to interact with each other through a barbed agenda. It feels like instances of insolence, cruelty, and overall incivility is a sign of a new societal epoch, where humility and empathy have become passé in the face of arrogant entitlement. Naturally, the first scapegoat for perceived increase in cruel and rude behaviour is the COVID-19 pandemic. It may be the case that increased fear and global anxieties were heightened due to the pandemic with its lockdowns, death of loved ones, and economic uncertainties. COVID lockdowns across the globe led to social disconnections, high anxiety, and in return, increased screen time. For people like me who lived alone, sometimes the only way we interacted with other human beings was through a screen. But should we assume that the COVID-19 pandemic was the coup de grace of human incivility? In a study published in 2025, academics Schaffer and Sakla confirmed that nearly half of US adults, that's 47%, have complained about an increase of rudeness compared to before the COVID-19 pandemic. The most observed complaints of incivility since COVID-19 was an apparent increase of people using profanities in public, videoing and photographing others in public without permission, and parents bringing children into adult-designated spaces such as bars and elite restaurants. Dr. Steven Zech, Senior Lecturer of Politics and International Relations at Monash University, noted that the pandemic, with its mandated mask wearing, social distancing and lockdowns, muted the clues that we humans were accustomed to. As Zech elaborates, the social lubricants such as smiling, shaking hands or even interacting politely to the waitstaff were taken away during the pandemic, perhaps leaving us out of touch with social etiquette. However, as stated earlier, the COVID pandemic may seem like a lame excuse when it comes to understanding the cause of increased incivility in society. To be honest, COVID-19 is not the first time humans have faced events that have caused global anxieties. We survived 9/11, world wars, the Spanish flu, climate change, economic recessions. So why are we now only noticing an increase of rude and cruel behaviour as if it's a badge of honour? The pandemic didn't create this cruel is cool culture. I argue that popularising cruel behaviour existed long before this, for as long as we've had two major and deeply subversive cultural phenomena, social media and reality TV. A psychological term that's been often overused, with thanks to social media, is narcissism. We might be familiar with the concept of narcissism, a condition that's been in existence for centuries. Some may even say that the heinous practices of some notorious leaders throughout history exhibited narcissistic traits. However, scientific author John Nosta argues that social media has amplified narcissistic behaviours to the point of being performative. Social media has changed the nature of public discourse. Anyone with a social media account can interact and engage with public discussion, albeit with the relative security of interacting behind a screen. As Nosta states, and I quote, "Technology didn't birth narcissism, it weaponized it. Where a narcissist once relied on a small social circle to validate their grandiosity, today they can perform to millions, with algorithms rewarding exaggeration and spectacle, unquote. And indeed, algorithms used in social media have been blamed for deliberately highlighting cruel online behaviours such as trolling, harassment and bullying. The more a social media user engages with and interacts with online cruelty, the more their algorithms feed similar content back to the user. The cycle of normalising and even rewarding cruel online behaviours further reinforces the act of trolling, bullying and harassment as a rewarding, celebrated rite of passage. However, long before social media oozed its way into daily ubiquity, the practice of being rude and cruel to others found a place in the murky world of reality TV. Shows such as Big Brother, Married at First Sight, and The Biggest Loser are built upon a common formula. Contestants are put in a situation together where they must compete for an ultimate prize. Through cunning framing and agenda setting by the TV producers, the ultimate goal of these TV shows is to create conflict between contestants that leads to acts of cruelty in the form of entertainment. It's high school playground stuff reimagined as reality TV, and viewers love it. A 2024 study by academic Dr. Prasanna Dasari reveals how some viewers of reality TV became influenced by the cruelty between contestants. Dasari interviewed a range of viewers from different age group, genders and socio-economic backgrounds before, during and after they watched the Indian version of Big Brother, over there called Big Boss. Dasari confirms how reality TV could normalise the negative social behaviours, including aggression, bullying and voyeurism, and how it can desensitise viewers to aggressive and rude behaviours, potentially normalising the use of toxic behaviour to get what you want. In her case studies, Dasari measured the mental well-being of viewers before, during and after watching the series. She noted that while watching the series, viewers reported increased stress levels and sleep disturbances. Sometimes the mood of the viewer mirrored the screen conflicts that they saw. And even after the series ended, some viewers continued to mirror the confrontational style of behaviours seen in the series in order to achieve their goals. The theory that the increase of cruel and rude behaviour can be partially attributed to COVID, social media and reality TV. But this might unfairly suggest that we have a high level of gullibility, whereas the rise of incivility may simply be a natural evolutionary change led by younger generations. And let's face it, Gen Z, those born between 1997 and 2012, have been a topic of discussion of late due to their apparent embodiment of cruel and rude behaviour. Let's take the infamous Gen Z stare. Picture it. You walk into a cafe and order a latte, and the Gen Z serving you behind the counter stands there staring blankly at you. They don't speak, they don't blink, they just stare at you. This is either a deliberate act of defiance, purposely making you feel uneasy and showing their utter contempt for your existence. But I argue that not all Gen Zs are impudent little shits. In fact, Gen Zs are a generation of our population that my heart goes out to. They've inherited an uncertain world that, by its very nature, is inhabited by humans filled with angst, anger, and reacting with incivility. In these uncertain times of climate change, global conflicts, and economic pressures, it's no wonder Gen Zs don't reciprocate courteous niceties, business academic Professor Susie Welsh has noted that Gen Zs care more about authenticity than they do about traditional concepts of achievements and success, particularly things like home ownership and building wealth. Could the Gen Zs dare be a rebellion against inauthentic small talk and false niceties? Are they thinking, well, this is the state of the world that we're in. Who has time for small talk? We must understand that, for better or worse, Gen Zs are shaping the future of our business and democratic life, and traits that exhibit incivility are becoming more aligned with how humans engage with one another. Let's look at political discourse, for example. Some say that the rise of the right, including Donald Trump, reflects how people are now celebrating rudeness, brashness and cruelty as a means to achieve your goals. But is there hope for change? I'd like to think so. You hear stories of Gen Zs taking a stance against performative presences on social media, some even adopting dumb phones to limit their screen time. In Denmark, schools even teach empathy to students in hour-long lessons called Klassens Tid. Will we actually see a citizen-led return to civility? Or should I just toughen up and grow a thicker skin? After all, the Gen Z death stare won't hurt me, but Trumpian right-wing politics might. I'd like to think that we've got this in hand, and one day we can return to a civil, kinder society. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. My name is Naomi Hallam. You can follow me on naomihallam.wordpress.com.